Welcome to the Personal Brand Equity subseries of the 10 podcast brought to you by the Nebraska Tech Collaborative powered by the Exorbitant Foundation. I am Shonna Dorsey here with
Todd Murphy, president of TrueScope, a media intelligence company located in North America, Singapore, New Zealand, and headquartered in Australia.
Excellent. And I should say too that I also happen to lead Intern Any powered by Exorbitant as well. So double duty Shonna over here.
Pro Shonna.
Yay. Yeah. So love this series. Thank you for doing this with me.
It's fun. We're kind of coming into the last couple here.
Yeah.
So this one is this one's pretty simple. I hope all of the editions have been simple, but this one is about being easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
People think of I put a resume out or I applied for a job. That's not being easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by being easy to find is if you're not in the stream, and we've talked earlier in our series about being in the stream, you don't exist. If you haven't been in what I call the business ecosystem of your choice, if you're a developer, a programmer, a coder, whatever, an artist, you want to be in that ecosystem so people can start developing knowledge that you exist.
Right.
If you're hiding at home,
Mm-hmm.
you don't exist.
Super fair. And to your point, as you're spending time within those streams, whether that's in person or online, which I know we'll talk about a little bit about both, then people start to connect you to that ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew you and what you were involved with before I'd ever met you. You were part of an ecosystem that I follow related to technology, employment, upskilling, I'll call it, taking people and providing new skills. I know it has a better word than upskilling.
It's perfect. Reskill, upskill. Yeah, I like it.
But you're a great example of someone who was very much in an ecosystem before I ever met you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that also gave me an impression of who you were. I could tell by your online presence, we'll call that a vibe.
Sure.
In an online world.
Yeah.
I felt like I knew what you were involved with.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did meet you, I wouldn't say there was really any surprises other than you were a very nice person.
Yeah. I'm glad you think so. And that kind of goes back to, in a previous episode, we talked about being, actually, we haven't talked about this yet. We will at some point talk about being authentic. But when someone shows up in person, how you experience them online, that is outstanding, because I know I've had situations where I meet someone and it just doesn't quite match up. And that's always, I just have to reset my expectations.
Authenticity is one of my favorite words. Authenticity and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Transparency is needed in government, is needed in governance, is needed in expectations.
Mm-hmm.
But being authentic is a real underpinning of your personal brand equity. You can't fake who you are and expect to amass any personal brand equity of any sort. Because remember, we're talking about developing yourself so you have the opportunity to thrive in whatever industry or vocation you're interested in.
Right.
And whether that's how you present yourself online or in person,
mm-hmm.
That energy.
Yeah.
And earlier, before we started, we were talking about energy little bit and the vibe you give off. And
yes.
And, I'd like you to share with me your perception of online versus in-person energy.
Yes. Thanks for that prompt. And I'm just thinking about, I wanted to use you as an example, actually. So I met or interacted with you just a little bit online, and I did not realize how funny you were until we hung out. So I think your energy or vibe is a lot higher, if you will. I don't know how to describe this, but it's great, right? And so I don't know if you could try to be funnier online. That would be super helpful. I'd like to see more of that from you.
Well, and humor is tough, so authentically. So you're right. I do enjoy humor. Unfortunately, my sense of humor is sarcasm, and sarcasm is often lost online.
That is so fair.
So, I have to leave sarcasm out of my emails and my online personality. And so it's not surprising for me to hear that in person you found me funnier
Yeah.
because I can play off things you say and the people at Weberized. And
Yep. Yep.
but that's me. Not everyone. That's not the vibe everyone has.
Yep. That makes
Uh,
sense.
but being authentic is what you have to be, and
Hmm.
you can go so far online, but in person, you have to be authentic. Now, you don't often say be honest and direct, but not necessarily open.
Right.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I had a personal matter to
Hmm.
attend to.
Hmm.
That's okay to share with somebody. Hey, sorry I'm late because I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken's buffet before I came. I had massive stomach discomfort and I spent an hour in the restroom. That's
Too
too much
much.
information.
Hmm.
So you don't necessarily need to be open, but be honest and direct. Was that the analogy you were thinking of? No. We have 4 minutes left, so I'm going to go on to one thing about energy. It reminds me of a story. I was speaking to a local business owner, a large business owner in Omaha, and he was talking about how it's difficult to find people to work in his industry. And he told me a story of one person who showed up. He said, "Okay, I'm going to try something. I'm going to hire everybody I interview today." And he had 3 people scheduled for interviews. And he told the first one, regardless of how they answered questions or anything, he said, "Great, you're hired. When can you start? Perfect. We'll see you at 8 a.m. that day." Next person, same thing. "See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Third person, "Great. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. First person didn't show up, never heard from him. Second person showed up wearing a baseball hat that said, "Give 0 Fs." Now, the F word, fill in the blank. That's the wrong energy to give off
Yes.
in person.
Yes.
And, I questioned him. I said, "Do you think this person just needed to show up for some reason? Or does he really not understand the vibe that he gave off when he came in on his first day of work and wore a hat saying, 'I give 0 Fs'?"
Hmm.
Um, Certainly, I'm going to look at that hat and go, he's probably not going to be my best employee.
Right.
You know, that's counterproductive to what I want on my team.
Hmm.
Now, that's an extreme example, and certainly I wouldn't wear a hat like that. But earlier in one of our auditions, we talked about the impression you give off.
Right.
This candidate who took the job only had one chance to make a first day impression
Hmm.
and ruined it.
Right. Yeah. And it's so interesting too, because it's like this topic specifically is around,
Personal brand equity.
and this specific episode is about.
Be easy to find.
Right.
So I don't know how we got off on
I
that
know.
tangent. So, like most of our episodes, all of your personal brand equity, you can't pull it out. It's like your personality alone. I can't pull out each element of my personality and let it stand alone.
Right.
It is interwoven. So the fact that we're breaking them down into additions is a little bit difficult.
It is. You are so right. And it's hard to stay on topic a little bit, but that's great. This is like an authentic part of this conversation, which is, oh, interesting. Okay. So we're
We
a little
moved
bit
over
over
here,
here.
and we're coming back
We're
now.
coming back.
So being easy to find is, we talked about being on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
That's one thing. Another thing is, if you're trying to get a job in an industry or move to a company that you really are interested in, being easy to contact is something. And one thing I've noticed, I was really enthralled with the idea of the digital business card. And maybe
Mhm.
I've shared this before,
No.
where, it's a plastic card. It has a chip in it. And Shonna, I run into you at a conference. You say, "Oh, Todd, can I get your details?" And you can just, buzz my card with your phone and you've got my information. That doesn't work for chance meetings. And I know this might sound like an old notion, but if you're passing an executive in a hallway or at a luncheon or at a conference, and you have 3 seconds to say, "Hi, I'm Todd Murphy. I'd really love to work at your company," you can't ask that executive, "Oh, hi, Shonna. Would you mind getting your phone out so I can put my phone up and we can exchange details?" This person's going to like, "Hey, I have to move on to my next thing. I don't have time."
Right.
But if I have a business card, if I have a card with my name and contact information, even if it's an email and a LinkedIn profile,
Yep.
something I can put in your hand that's relatively expensive and biodegradable,
Mhm.
that's what people need. It's it's another way of being easy to locate. It's
Right.
a twist on being easy to find. If you did that to me at a conference and you were trying to break into a business, I'd say, okay, there's a person who is going after it.
Hmm.
And I'm going to look at this card and I'm going to go, wow, it's their personal card.
Right.
I'm going to call that person back.
And you see business cards so rarely, but I love this. So on the comments in this post, we would love to hear how ways people are being easy to find,
Yeah,
right?
tell us
So
how you're
tell us
easy to
how
find,
you're doing it.
or if you want to weigh in on the debate versus electronic business cards and paper business
Yes.
cards, because I
Love
love
it.
that debate.
Yes, me too. I'm
Thank you.
pro physical card.
We share that in common.
Thanks, y'all.